I think it's the perspective from the
Yeah.
consumer of a business, and then you see what the business is doing outward facing. And oh, that's what I need to do without understanding why they're doing it, the intentionality, all the other things on the other side of the curtain that's going on. And so, yes, that is precisely what happened. So I thought I was the man at 18. By 19, I was like, man, I'm probably the worst person who ever tried entrepreneurship.
Were you depressed moving back?
I was depressed, but I was also relieved because I was pretending to be somebody that I had not built yet.
Yep.
And so
Yep.
that pressure came down and I was like, okay, I get to.
Hi, and welcome to Handbag Designer 101, the podcast with your host, Emily Blumenthal, handbag industry expert and the handbag fairy godmother. Each week, we uncover the stories behind the handbags we love, from the iconic brands and top designers to the creativity, craftsmanship, and culture that define the handbag world. Whether you're a designer, collector, or simply passionate about handbags, this is your front row seat to it all. Okay, welcome, Raphael Dega.
Thank you.
I
Thank
said
you.
that right. Of Salt Athletic, co-founder and CEO of Salt Athletic. Welcome to Handbag Designer 101, the podcast. Very excited to have you.
Thank you very much. Very excited to be here. And I'll throw in something. The full name is actually Rafael Antonio Enrique de la Vega Sanchez de Lozada. That's how we do things back home. So,
I mean, if you're going to have a last name, you might as well have a last name, right? Just keep going. Just keep going, right? Also, I think that primes you as a child to have a strong memory because you need to, that's like a lot
yes,
of letters to know how to spell at a young age, right?
absolutely. And a lot of names. And each name is one of the ancestors. And so you got told, oh, here's what great grandpa did and what his dad did. And that's why you're named this. So,
But doesn't that teach you a level of respect too? I think when you grow up knowing that, it's almost like dealing from people from the South in the US because everything is ma'am, please. I think when you grow up having that many names, you treat things with a different level of respect, I believe, in my opinion.
absolutely. And I think also identity, like the things that people did before help shape your identity and your sense of direction and purpose to a degree. So,
So I was told once, and if anybody's listened to my 100+ episodes, they've heard me say this, that I have been told that one way or another, we end up replicating the life pattern of our parents and or ancestors. So did you have anybody in your past who was entrepreneurial or someone who was very forthright in forging their own path, let alone within sports, or was very much like my beat of my own drum?
absolutely. So both of my grandparents,
There you go.
one of them started in resources and built a company there. And the other one, the De La Vega grandfather, he was born and had to sell soap as a child to survive on the streets of La Paz and built a whole accounting practice and worked his way through in a very difficult society to do so. So those were stories that I heard as a kid and stories that inspired me growing up to say, okay, this is what I'm made of, I guess, and ended up replicating it myself.
See, hustle is either in you or it isn't. I just think it's not something you can teach because that hunger or that inability to sit still is something that, because you were telling me right before that you had gone to school on and off for entrepreneurship, because as an entrepreneur, which it's like calling yourself a DJ, anybody could be an entrepreneur. You know what I mean? But are you a DJ too?
No,
Okay, I just
not
figured I'd
yet.
ask. Anybody can be, but it's really one of those things that anybody could do it. So to give yourself that name really in the bigger picture doesn't really mean anything because anybody could be an entrepreneur. But do you need school for it? Not necessarily, but are there things you can learn? Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I think the difference is because anybody could call themselves an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Those who are entrepreneurs versus those who aren't are those who believe what they say about themselves ahead of what others say about themselves. Right. And so if your self-designation of entrepreneur is bigger than the people that said, oh, you're nobody, then you are an entrepreneur. And over time, you're going to prove it 100%.
Right. Right. So we saw that on paper, you may or may not have graduated 2 years ago, which makes you very young in some capacity. We won't go there. It's fine. You have a full facial hair. So that means you're old enough to grow a beard. So you're obviously old in some capacity. How because you were saying that you were trying to basically decrypt what kind of company Salt Athletic is. So did you play soccer? I assume you did.
I did, absolutely. So the company started out of my personal need for this product.
That's
And I,
usually how those things
yeah.
happen.
And so, but I wasn't just the soccer player that wanted to be good. I was swagged out. I had the pink cleats, the mohawk, the different socks. It for me, form and function has always had to go together. And so when I first had this need, I went and used duct tape, baking soda, fabric in my soccer bag and solved the problem for myself. And I was in a high school entrepreneurship class where they went through how to build a product or a business and the problem solution to product market fit process. And that problem identification alerted me to the fact that, hey, there's a lot of people that probably have this problem and it's scalable. It's something
And
that
what is the problem,
the
to be
problem
clear?
is that my cleats were stinking up my life. And I'll tell you the exact day that that became apparent and something that I needed to solve for myself was the biggest game of my career. I was 16 playing against FC Dallas U17s, and they were the team to beat. Stepped on the field, and I smelled my jersey. Everything was perfect, and I smelled my jersey, and it threw me off emotionally right before the kickoff. And so at that point, I was determined to fix that, fixed it for myself, went to this class, and then thought, okay, we can make a product out of this. And went through high school, got into, believe it or not, NYU, Poly. That's where I was going to go right out of high school. And I
Too
thought,
much money. You would have wasted your time. Go ahead. No disrespect to anybody who went there, but at this point, I'm sorry. It's 100 grand a year at this point.
yes,
It
it
is a
was,
100 grand a
geez.
year. That's 400,000. And unless you're guaranteed that ROI for your business in the first 4 years, I have lots of thoughts on college. Sorry, back to you.
It was 60 back then. So
Yeah.
this is back in 2014, by the way.
60 plus though.
Yeah, 60 plus.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, I could go to school or I could build this thing and be a millionaire at 18. Easy, easy decision, no brainer.
Launching a brand overnight within 2 years, millionaire, obviously go 100%.
And so I went for it, I took a gap year, developed the technology, patented it just through researching and reading patents and
A
any
utility patent.
utility patent. Yes.
Okay.
And right when we were filing that patent, the material science experts that were writing about this were saying, hey, the best combination to deal with this problem of stink and athletic stink was probably an adsorption agent and a biocidal agent, which is exactly what we were filing at that moment. And so that's the patent that has been the technical underpinning to the brand.
Do
And
you have a design patent to go with it so it's used within the scope of the bag?
so we have a utility patent for all bags, for the combination of this for all bags. We don't have design patents at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
It's a
something
lot of money. It's a
yes.
lot of money, especially when your bags are probably not going to be the same today as they will be in 2 years.
And when you're really out in the world competing, because we've seen some people try to knock off what we're doing, you look into it, it's somebody drop shipping a Chinese product that
Yep.
you could send them a cease and desist. They'll stop that store, pop up the next one. And so the real advantage there is just having built the brand that we built. But digressing back to that part of the story, I had figured out how to do the product. It worked. And I thought, okay, this is going to be easy. I'm going to now move to New York. I moved to Brooklyn, met
Of
some,
course, Brooklyn.
yes. And New York, of all the cities in the US, reminds me the most of home. It's because La Paz is so busy, hustle and bustle, all that stuff. The second I landed in New York, I was like, yes, this is familiar. So I was coming from Oklahoma, believe it or not, Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Oh,
So
okay.
different pace of life.
So your family went from Bolivia to Oklahoma.
That's right.
Were they doctors?
No, my dad was a minister. And so we moved here on a religious workers visa.
Yep. Okay. That was my next guess. Okay. Praise Jesus. Okay.
Let's,
Hey, if Jesus can take you places, let's go, Jesus. I'm here
let's
for it.
go.
I'm
Yes.
here. Bring it.
So, and that version of the company failed miserably. We did everything wrong, undercapitalized, started wasting money on things that made us feel and look important that didn't drive the
Yep.
business
So
anywhere.
overhead, did you have
Yeah.
okay, did you
Yes.
get non, so overhead, over developing, over designing,
Absolutely.
spent money on publicists and PR.
Yes.
Yep.
And Twitter accounts to promote us before we even had a product.
Yep. It's the smoke and the mirrors. And it's one of the things I try to beat in to people, that nothing should be outsourced. You need to do the grind yourself. You need to understand how to do every single thing within your company before you start having people do it for you. Because number one, that $5,000 minimum a month that it's going to charge you, you'll never know what you're spending that money on. Number two, you won't understand what they're doing. And number three, as a result of you not knowing, you can't even hold them accountable, let alone say you did nothing. I want my money back. You got no string on that. But it's one of the costs of doing business, and might as well do that early than do that late. So you blew
Absolutely.
through 20 grand, I assume, at a minimum, and then said,
Yeah.
oh shit, I gotta go home.
Yeah, precisely.
Yep.
Absolutely. And I think it's the perspective from the
Yeah.
consumer of a business. And then you see what the business is doing outward facing. Oh, that's what I need to do, without understanding why they're doing it, the intentionality, all the other things on the other side of the curtain that's going on. And so, yes, that is precisely what happened. So I thought I was the man at 18. By 19, I was like, man, I'm probably the worst person who ever tried entrepreneurship.
Were you depressed moving back?
I was depressed, but I was also relieved because I was pretending to be somebody that I had not built yet.
Yep.
And so
Yep.
that pressure came down and I was like, okay, I get
But
to.
it's so good that you had that happen at that age, at that time. And the crazy thing is that I think what you went through was pretty standard. It's kind of like the cost of doing business learning curve of ego. And I have a business. I'm a hustler. I'm a pimp. Look at me. You guys all suck. You can't do what I do. I know you don't. And then you're like, oh, damn, I better leave before people don't know I'm not here. So, like, I'm getting on a plane. I'm not telling anybody. I'm just leaving, and I'll be back when I need to be and when I know what I'm doing next. But
And I
that's
left
good.
all my best suits in the apartment in Brooklyn. And by the time I came back, it was all gone. All my stuff was gone. So I was like, okay,
You
that's
didn't need them anyway. Just stuff.
just stuff. True that.
Just stuff. Just stuff. Wow. So, okay. And then you decided to go back to school. Like, okay, maybe I should go.
Absolutely. And I come from a family that's very academically inclined. And so when I told my family, I'm going to start a business, I'm not going to go to school because I'm smarter than you, and your
That
opinion is
tracks.
antiquated. I'm here with the modern times. There was so much pressure on me. So
I'll
much pressure.
bet.
You're ruining your life, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
And so that pressure, I caved, and I'm glad I did. First, I'm glad I took it on and said, no, 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 you're not going to define me. I'm going to define me. And then, oh, you were right. I should probably go learn some stuff. I went to school and tried to relaunch again via Kickstarter with barely any money because I said, hey, we have a product. There's a need for this product. We started it for soccer players. Now we're just going to do a shoe bag for active people. So we have this enormous market, right? And that went nowhere. But I did get to go on NBC and go on and talk in a segment called Your Business there at 30 Rock, and went in, did the whole thing, talked, and I was like, ha ha ha, yes, I'm here now. Again, that went nowhere. A lot of things that looked and felt like you were important, or looked and felt like you were going somewhere, but you weren't actually going anywhere. And so then I really just went back to school to study economics.
If you ever wanted to start a handbag line and didn't know where to start, this is for you.
Living proof that independent designers can make it big.
Absolutely. Blumenthal is one prime example.
If you had dreams of becoming a handbag designer and didn't know where to start, this is for you. If you have a handbag brand and are in need of strategy and direction, this is for you. I'm Emily Blumenthal, handbag fairy godmother and handbag designer expert, and this is Handbag Designer 101, the masterclass. Over the next 10 classes, I will break down everything you need to know how to make, market, and manufacture a handbag. Broken down for you that you'll not only skip steps in that handbag building process, but also save money in that learning curve. For the past 20 years, I've been teaching at the top fashion universities in New York City, created the Handbag Awards, and also the Handbag Designer 101 podcast. I'm going to show you like I have countless brands from sketch to sample to shelf, whether you're just starting out and don't know where to begin, or even if you have a handbag line and just need some strategic direction, the Handbag Designer 101 Masterclass is just for you. So let's get started, and you will be the creator of the next It Bag. Join me, Emily Blumenthal, with the Handbag Designer 101 Masterclass.
But everything you're doing right now is a case study. It is 100% entrepreneurship 101, defining your customer and overextending who your customer is, trying to be everything to everyone, which it's impossible if you want to make money, right? You have to be laser focused on who this customer is, what their needs are from an ethnographic perspective. What do they eat? What do they sleep? What do they drive? What are their needs? And being very clear, is it he, she, it, they? Where do you stand? How often do they shop? And I think we'll get to it, but what you said right now, that you have the pleasure of interviewing 11-year-old boys who play soccer, all the way going full circle, again, this is the life of running a small business, let alone running a handbag brand, that anybody who starts seems to think that they're splitting the atom and that they're creating a product that's for everyone all the time. And what I tell people is that there's no such thing as a day to night bag. It does not exist. Nobody wants their day bag tonight, no matter how many ways you want to slice it. What you wear at night is not what you want to look at during the day, and vice versa. So to say that we're creating anti-stink technology for everyone, not everyone needs it, or not everyone is willing to pay a premium for it to compensate for the money you spent on the patent. So it's like you got to go through all these steps to get to, okay. And it's funny, because I bet you were probably at a moment after being on NBC that you're like, yeah, I'm here. And then you realize, okay, press doesn't really warrant any ROI, number one, even though I went there and got my suit and made sure and wasn't shiny and everything. But also to think that, have I been dragging this out for so long? What if nobody wants this anymore? What if everybody's heard it? I can't go back to the same person over and over and over. And there's this level of shame / should I keep this going? And I might as well just go be a student. Maybe I'll go back and look at that again. Are all these correct to assume?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's look at what openings are at JP Morgan right now.
Exactly. Wouldn't it be nice to get a massive paycheck and some health insurance just so I could day job? It's funny how day jobbing looks sexy after going through all this.
Yes, absolutely. And I started to go down that path again. And I will say my academic passion is economics, because ultimately everything I'm building towards the development of my country back home. Right now, we're in this industry learning entrepreneurship, learning consumer psychology, all of these things, but this is all going towards that direction. And so I went to study economics. I looked at what I really wanted to accomplish and said, hey, the reason this didn't work out in the past wasn't because there wasn't a market or we didn't have a product or solution that was compelling. It's because we were terrible at business, and that's something we could fix. That's something and so back at school the second time, and I go to apply to an accelerator program called Mass Challenge. And at that time, I think they were the third most prestigious accelerator. It was 𝐻𝐻𝐻, then 500 startups, then Mass Challenge. And I got into the next round, which was the first time I ever had to do a pitch. And so I researched. Now I had some sense of, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to build a knowledge base with the resources at hand so I could do it well, or at least at a baseline level. researched how to pitch, what the structure of a pitch was. I go in there, I give the best pitch I could. 750 companies applied. 250 got to actually go and present. I was one of those 250. And I give my pitch. I was going in, I was very nervous. And I asked the person that was bringing me in to give the pitch, are they nice? And she goes, they're really nice. Don't worry about it. Said, okay, awesome. Give my pitch. As soon as I'm done, one of the guys goes like this. Here's why what you just said on your market slide is stupid. And just goes in, lays into me why I had no idea what I was talking about. And so I left that, got on the Uber back to the hotel. It's like I flew out here for nothing.
Yep.
And turns out I got in. And I was one of the 69 companies that actually made it into the program. And that's where I learned so much about what's been successful at SALT. Connected with all the mentors, people that have built companies, people that could speak directly to where I was at that point, why things hadn't worked out in the past, connections with factories, which in the handbag world and all the cut and sew world, it's getting the factory is maybe 60% of the difficulty of getting going.
Yep.
And
is the factory in Bolivia?
The first factory was in Mexico.
And
now we're in India and in Mexico.
So no Bolivia.
No Bolivia. The factory in Bolivia that did all the cut and sew and all the fashion stuff for Ralph Lauren was a good friend of my family's, and he got kicked out of the country right around the time my family was getting kicked out of the country. And he's the person I reached out to when it took us. I'd been spending about 2 years trying to find a factory, 2018, 2019.
Yeah.
Everybody was booked, fully booked.
Yep. Yep.
And so I reached out to him. I asked him if he could help us find somebody. And he was good friends with my grandfather. And he connected me with a gentleman down in Guadalajara in Mexico who has all the connections.
And then you ended up finding a factory in Guadalajara?
So we found an advisor in Guadalajara.
Okay.
Who, by the way, connected us with somebody at FIT. Do you know Margaret Bishop?
Yes.
Okay. So
yes.
We met with her recently. And so he connected us with her. And he's got all the connections with factories because he did all of the engineering for a lot of these. And he got us in with a pant factory at the end of COVID to get our first production run done.
Mm-hmm.
We got that in, had no idea how to sell it. We were like, we're going to partner with professional soccer teams. Easy money. Couldn't sell that. So we were running out of money and we didn't have enough to pay the next month. This is December of 2021. And I bring in a marketing agency that specialized on ads. And I told them on Facebook ads. And so we had an arrangement where I'd pay them at the end of the month. They'd work for a month and I'd pay them at the end of the month. But what they didn't know is I was betting on them selling enough product during the month for us to be able to pay them. And I had a big discussion with, I've had two co-founders that I worked with throughout all of this. And one of them, when he realized what we were doing, he said, what did you do? We're not going to bleed to death slowly. We're either going to succeed or we're going to go out with a bang. Those are our options right now.
Right.
And it worked out. It was a success. We sold enough to be able to cover our expenses and continue the path at that point. Compete for a grant here in Colorado at the University of Colorado where I'd been a student. Win that grant. So you had to go through an accelerator program. At the end of it, you got $50,000 if you won. And so we competed for it, won that grant, took that $50,000, took all the learnings we had until that point. Was we don't actually sell to swagged out soccer players. We sell to their moms, but we need them to think it's cool. So we need to communicate with both of them.
Wow. And your co-founders have been the same the whole time?
They've been the same the whole time. So.
And did they go to school with you when you were going through that? Or you're like, hey guys, I'll just enroll and you just come with me?
So one of them, Jackson, was in that high school entrepreneurship class with me at the very beginning.
Okay.
And then he went on and did an engineering degree, worked in defense for a while. After that, came back. The other one, I've known since I was born. He's my cousin. And so
Okay. Is he on the De La Vega side?
He's on the other side, on the Sanchez de los side. So
Okay. So he can't even roll with the same last name at this point.
not at this point, but you never know.
Oh my God. So where did the name Salt Athletic come from?
So another person that was in that high school entrepreneurship class, believe it or not, that's who we contacted. The first two times that we tried was under the name Evo. So Evo Athletics was
Okay.
I'm not good at coming up with names for stuff. That's not my thing. And right when we were about to do the third iteration of this business, which is the one we're on right now, we reached out to him because he was working at a company that just started a branding studio called A Small Studio
Okay.
out in Seattle. And he said, we're just getting started. We could do a deal for you, get a brand developed for you guys. And so when we went there, my request to them was, I love what Apple has done. Taken something that everybody has a relationship to and rebranded it. 10 out
Okay.
of 10, A+ for you guys would be if you could do the same for us.
So make us like Apple.
Exactly.
Okay, that tracks. Good for you.
That
Hey,
was the aspiration.
if you're gonna shoot big, I am here for that. I totally respect that. So they're the ones who, in conclusion, who came up with the name.
They came up with the name. Salt has all these connotations. It's clean. It's a preserving agent. It's something that everybody has a relationship to. And so that's where that name came from.
And where is Salt at right now in terms of D2C? Are you in retail? What are the hopes, wishes, and dreams for Salt Athletic?
So right now we're the number one cleat bag in the US, number one golf shoe bag as well.
Okay.
So our D2C channels are moving and grooving. We've been growing consistently, and we're at a point where we've got partnerships with the biggest leagues. Our product is sold at the Nike shoebox at ECNL events. It's the only branded item that is sold at the Nike pop-up. And now we're looking at expanding into other markets that are like soccer in the sense that the form and function really matters. How you look while you're doing it is a big concern. And we're looking at volleyball, running, gym. And the idea was...
You've expanded to anywhere shoes stink.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And beyond that, building a brand that's at the intersection of technology, style, and sport. And right now, the technological innovation is really around the hygienic innovations. Stink, bacteria, there's plenty to do there. The design element of it is one of the things that we're focusing on very heavily in this next year and in this next season. Because I took forever to design this bag, super intentional in everything, the magnetic closure, the handle, the integrated handle, the angles. It's all one, it's all integrated. And so this year we've codified the design language. What is salt? What isn't salt?
Right.
This is how we're going to present ourselves to the world. And now it's about finding the next group of talent that can come in and carry that vision forward. So we've raised some investment. We've expanded into retail in various soccer specialty stores. And now we're deciding whether it makes sense to focus on retail and sporting goods, or we've had Walmart and Target come up to us and say, hey, we're interested. We can carry your stuff on our sites and then see where we could go from there.
That's drop ship though.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a whole other conversation with the return on investment for how that works. Because for some brands, it's great. And other brands, it's an inventory suck. So it could go either way, depending on where you're at. This is all really exciting stuff, though, Raphael.
So now we're at a point where we even had a movie come up to us. They're working with some A-list soccer talent, and they wanted to get some product placement in the movie and some brand, and for us to outfit some of the athletes that are going to be in the movie. And so we're at a point where everything that I had originally wanted to accomplish is pretty much done. The original thing was, let's make the coolest cleat bag in soccer and let's take over the sport. Let's make sure that this is a highly desirable item. And we've accomplished that at this point. We always hear, and it's not great for the people that it happens to, because these bags often get stolen in locker rooms, but it speaks to the desirability within the sport and what the bag symbolizes. And that was one thing, to this day, I don't have very clear how you manage to make a product cool or assign a level of social value or psychological value beyond the functional.
Right.
And it's something that we've managed to pull off with this one. That was one of the things I really wanted to do from the start.
Right.
And now we've raised money and we have a board of directors and we have staff.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, oh boy, this was not in the...
That was not in the bingo card for how quickly the evolution. This is really cool. I'm so excited we were able to get you on here and for you to speak about the journey of Salt Athletic in terms of inception to essentially foot.
Right.
How can we find you, follow you, get our hands on Salt Athletic bags and gear and so forth?
So you can find us at saltathletic.com. That's our website. That's where we have all of our products. Everything that is salt you can find there. And you can follow us at salt.athletic on Instagram and on TikTok. And on TikTok, you might see me go out there, interview kids, do challenges, dance. You might see me dance. You never know. So those are the 3 places where you could connect with us that you'll find us.
Oh my goodness. Raphael, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to rate and review and follow us on every single platform at Handbag Designer. Thanks so much. See you next time.